This is where I'm like, I am the dumbest person in my class. 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. It's Natalia, and welcome to a catch-up video. Let's talk video. I actually really don't know. I've actually filmed this video once before, like last week, and not only did I go on so many tangents that I was like, this is an unusable video, but I also looked extremely busted. If you don't know what that means, not cute. But before we begin this video, Mom, Dad, you're probably watching because you watch most of my videos, so respectfully, please leave. And extended family and family friends. Okay, for regular viewers, meaning people that do not know my family or family and friends and stuff, my dad watches every video, my mom watches some videos, and when they watch it on the TV in the living room. But for today's video, please leave. Thanks. So the main purpose or the main reason I wanted to film this video is because I feel like I have really, oh, hello, postcard just fell off the wall, that scared me. The main reason I wanted to film this video, like I was saying, is lately I've been traveling so much, which I'm sure you guys have noticed if you like look at my last few videos. I've been traveling so much, which means I haven't really been talking to you guys about like updates or things going on in my life or things that are more personal, I guess, because I feel like that kind of stuff shouldn't go into a travel vlog, because I feel like people search for like travel vlogs in order to like help them plan their trips, their vacations and stuff. So it's not like the time and the place to be like, hey guys, I'm like struggling right now or something. Like it just doesn't feel right. So I was like, you know what, let's just sit down, film this kind of video. The people that care will watch. The people that don't care, they can watch the next vlog, which is fine. So things that have been going on lately. So as some of you probably know, I am in the advanced Korean research class here at Korea University, meaning I am at like the last level of the program. Like this is the highest level there is. It comes after level 6. So in the fall, like the fall semester, which I'm a language student, I am not a degree candidate or anything like that. I'm literally just learning Korean every day, pretty much. That's it. In the fall, when I first came to Korea and enrolled in the Korean Language Center here at KU, I was taking topic 5 classes, which yes, they are equivalent. Topic 5 classes. Then in the winter, I was taking topic 6 classes. And then now in the spring semester, I'm taking 연구반, which comes after level 6. So it's, if you're trying to ask me like, is it the same as a level 7? I mean, I guess like kind of like officially the Korean government, or the TOPIK test, or the test of proficiency in Korean that is administered by the Korean government, does not have a level 7 like ranking. But based, like if I just compare what we're doing in my research class to what we were doing in like the level 6 class, like it's a lot harder. It's so hard, which I'm gonna get into. It is so hard. Like we study with documentaries, we study with like excerpts of like autobiographies, we study with news articles, we study with like news programs, variety shows. We study with like legit native content. It's not content that is meant for people who are learning Korean. It's like, no. You, like hypothetically, students that are in level 6, and like the research class that I'm in right now, like hypothetically, we're supposed to be fluent in Korean. Like we are supposed to be pretty much the same as a native speaker, which is not true. That's not true at all. But like hypothetically, right? So that's how we're studying. We're studying like, you're not necessarily fluent in Korean, but like you should be at a high enough level to be able to do these things. Which I'm not. I'm like, I'm struggling so much. Like sometimes it's easy, but most of the time it's hard. And I'm really struggling like this semester. Like am I getting through it? Yeah, but like it's really painful. It is so painful, and it makes me feel sometimes like I'm dumb, like I'm horrible at Korean, which I know is not true, but it's like such a like this semester I want to say I am the dumbest person in my class. Of like, how many people are in my class? Like 10? I'm not gonna count, but like between 10 and 13. There's some like somewhere between there, okay? I'm at the bottom. So in the fall, when I was taking level 5, I remember going into that class being really scared because I was not like the other students in that the majority of my classmates had gone through all the levels at KU. They hypothetically didn't have any gaps in their learning, right? Like the teacher knew what they should know, what they shouldn't know, as opposed to me, who I've studied all kinds of ways. I took Korean classes as an exchange student at a different university, which uses different books. Then I went back home to the US and I self-studied for several years. Then I took italki classes and we used a different set of textbooks. And now like I'm coming into level 5, right? And I was like, okay, these are textbooks that I've never really used. I am kind of scared because am I gonna have like a ton of gaps? Am I not gonna be at the level that like my classmates are at? Is the teacher gonna expect me to know things that I don't know? Like I was really like anxious about it. Like I didn't express that at the time, but I was really, really anxious about it. Yes, I did test into the level 5 class, and I actually tested into that class through speaking. Like at the time, Corona was really bad, or at least by Korean government standards, it was really bad. So we are during non-COVID times, we're supposed to have 2 placement tests. The first one being a written test, which I assume is like an essay and maybe like some reading, like comprehension questions. Like, I don't know, because we didn't take that. And then you're supposed to have a speaking test. Because of COVID, they did not want us to gather for a writing test. So they said, okay, this semester, the placement test is only going to be a speaking test. Like, it's just an interview. I did like the interview, right? And they put me in level 5, which like, honestly, was like, but anyway, so going to level 5, I was really like anxious about it. And then it ended up, sorry, I'm expecting a call like very soon. So I have to like look at my phone every time it beeps. But it ended up being fine. Like it ended up that I was on the same level as like the majority of my classmates. Like I think most of them had a much larger vocabulary than me, but when it came to speaking, I was very good. Like I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but in that class, I honestly think I was like the second best speaker. Like my friend Ruka, who you guys kind of met in one of my vlogs one time, like she was definitely the best speaker in my opinion. Like girl's so good at Korean, like she was the best. And then honestly, I think it was me in terms of like I could speak really quickly. I feel like my pronunciation is pretty good. Like my intonation I also think is pretty good. We would read something, for example, and the teacher would ask us a question about the text, and I was very quickly able to say, well, according to the text, da 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 da. I was able to summarize what I had read very quickly in my head and then say it without like much of a lag, compared to like some of my classmates where they couldn't do that. So a lot of them would, like they understood the question, obviously, they understood the text, but they would like hear the teacher's question and then read exactly like several sentences from what we had just read instead of like summarizing it, which is what you would do at least like in the American school system. Like I can't speak for how they do their schooling in their countries. Like maybe that's what they do. Maybe that's what's expected and that's why they did that. But it didn't seem like that's what our teachers wanted us to do, because then you're not showing that you truly are like understanding, I guess, because you're just like regurgitating what you just read. Yeah, so I was like pretty like confident in like level 5. Like I studied really hard. I felt like I was towards like the top of my class. Like when it came to speaking, which I know I keep saying speaking, but like to me, speaking is the most important skill to me. Like it's the one that I prioritize the most, because not only does it help me like communicate with people, and like when you connect with people, usually it's like because you have a conversation, right? I hate being misunderstood, like in English too. Like I hate being misunderstood. So in Korean, like I would hate for someone to misunderstand what I'm saying or like my opinions, or like when I try to talk about cultural differences, I don't want them to misunderstand what I'm saying. So like to me, it's like the most important thing is expressing my thoughts and ideas in Korean, like in a speaking fashion. So yeah, that's why I keep talking about speaking, because like to me, it's the thing that I want to get the best at. Like the other skills, obviously, like yeah, I want to be good at them, but not the same as speaking. And then in level 6, there were so many people in my class that were like so good at Korean. And like all my classes, like everyone is good at Korean. In level 6, again, like I might not have been at the top of my class because like so many people were so good, but like I was definitely like the top half. Like if we had to rank the students, right, which we're level 6, so everyone is good at Korean, but like if we had to rank ourselves in terms of like who's best at Korean and who's the worst at Korean in this class, like I would have been definitely like in the top half. Because again, like I was able to very quickly share my thoughts about the topics. Like we did a lot of debates in level 6, and I feel like I was very like quick to share my thoughts, very quick to say, okay, so you're saying that 1 + 1 = 2, but in this situation that doesn't make any sense because da 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 da, which I guess 1 + 1 was not a good like example, but like I was able to like point out the things in their argument that didn't make sense. And I was able to do that pretty quickly. As long as like I was able to like understand their pronunciation or like the words, like I was able to be like, no. Especially compared to a lot of the other students that like you could see them loading, if that makes sense. So I was like, you know, pretty confident in myself, in my Korean skills. And then I get into level 7, which level 7, like obviously, like I said before, like everyone is good. But I'd never been in the position where I'm at the bottom. So like to me it was like really stressing me out because I'm like, we do so much discussion, constant discussion. I go into more detail about like how we study in level 7, which I know I keep saying level 7, but that's not actually the name. It's 연구반, but I'm trying to like make sure that those of you who don't know much about my program like have an idea of where it ranks. Like I really love the way we study, the way we learn Korean in 연구반. And I was about to say this and then forgot, but in the next student vlog, I actually spend a few minutes talking about how we study, what we study, how the classes are structured for the 연구반 level. So if you're interested in that, please check out that video, at least the first half, because I'll go into detail about that. But I really like it. Like I really enjoy the way we study, but like my level, I don't want to say my level isn't good enough to do that because like I'm doing it. I'm not dying, but like compared to my classmates, like it's a lot harder for me. It is so hard for me. So in my class, the majority of the students are from Japan, but we have a few students that are from countries that aren't Japan. So our teacher will always say, this is what it's like in Korea, but what is it like in your country? What is it like in Japan? What is it like in the United States, which I'm the only American? What is it like in these other countries? Because I'm the only person from the United States, I feel like I have to, like I'm the representative. I was about to say it in Korean. I'm the representative for the United States. And this is where it gets difficult because I hate being misunderstood, right? And I don't want people to think my country is a certain way when it's not, simply because I couldn't express myself well enough. Like this is where I'm like, most of the American students in like KU's Korean language school don't actually get to the level that I'm at. Like I've never had, no, that's a lie. In level 6, there was one other person from the United States. I was so happy to see him. I was like, yes! But like usually there aren't any other people from like even Western countries. Like there's so few. This semester, there's only 2 people that were Western people, which was me and, no, there's 3. Me, a girl from England, and a girl that I think is American. I don't know. She was in the other section, so I have no idea. But there was 3, just 3 of us in the whole level set. So because of this, like the teacher tends to share what Western culture is like and what the Western world is like, which like I get it. When my teacher was talking about like the differences between like Korea and Western countries, especially like the United States, because I feel like the United States, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like super American right now, but like in Korea, the Western world is mainly represented by the United States. Like I'm sorry, like that is like how they teach things. Like it's always Korea versus the United States. So sometimes my teacher would be talking about like how we're different and it'd be completely wrong. I was like, that's not how we operate in the United States. And like you could see like my classmates being like, whoa, like that's how it works over there. And I was like, no, that's not how it works over there. We're going on a tangent, but I feel like it's relative to like, so you can understand how stressed I was in terms of like not being able to fully explain my thoughts and experiences in Korean. And I'm not like blaming my teachers or anything because they're very open. They would say like, 혜지 씨 미국에서 이런 일 생기나요? Or 미국에서 어때요? 이거 맞아요? 이거 다큐멘터리에서 나온 거 맞아요? They would always check with me in class and be like, is this true? Is this really how things are? If I was like, no, that's not how things work. Like, we actually do X, Y, and Z. And to be honest, I disagree with the person that's in the documentary. Like, there's a subgroup of people that think that, not a majority. And they would be like, oh my gosh, really? And then they would say, oh my goodness, like, I've been teaching this course like this for several semesters thinking that was true and I didn't know. Oh my goodness. They were like, oh, okay. And they would say things that were like, in the future, I need to mention that not everyone thinks this, or that, like, according to like this American student, like, this isn't everyone's experience, I guess. Like, they were very open to being like, oh, okay. I don't think like they were trying to be any kind of way about America or something, but like, when it comes to like sharing like negative experiences, especially, I was like, I need to fully explain my thoughts and I need to be political about it, because I feel like I represent the United States and a lot of like the Western mindset and like the Western culture. I feel a lot of pressure to make sure that like what my classmates and teacher understand is what I'm actually trying to convey, what I'm actually trying to say, which like we've always done this. In every level I'm asked like, what's it like in America? What do Americans think? What do Westerners think? But in the other levels, it was more at my level, to where I felt like I was able to explain myself the way I wanted to. But now, because we're speaking about more specific things, like high level topics, I'm having a hard time expressing what I'm trying to express. Does that make sense? I just don't have the vocabulary to express the ideas that I wanted to express, because I've never needed it before. I've never needed these words before. I've never even looked up these words before. And yet my classmates have these words. Like, they're able to talk about Japan very fluently and be like, well, in Japan we do XYZ. And then it gets to me and I'm like, 이거 어떻게 설명해야 되는지 모르지만 미국에서는 I have to like give examples because I don't know the words, which is like fine, but at the same time I'm like, why? I don't know, it just stresses me out because the other students don't have to do that, and then there's me. I'm not used to not being one of the best students in the class is what I'm trying to say. So it's that coupled with not being able to represent the United States and the like Western culture the way I want to, that's also stressing me out. And like, honestly, they're like, I want to say at least half of my classmates, like, this is not their first time in 연구반. Like, this is their second or even third time in 연구반. Like, because it's the last level, a lot of students tend to repeat it just because they don't want to leave Korea yet, they don't want to leave the program yet, for whatever reason, they are repeating. Not because they need to necessarily, but because they want to, which means like they've done this material before. So I'm like, Natalia, you can't really be mad at yourself for not being as good as these other students when they've been doing this. Like, they've seen this documentary multiple times, they've had this discussion multiple times, like, they've studied these words before, so you can't really compare because you're not the same. Like, you're never the same. You're not supposed to compare yourself to other students. Like, I know that, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm gonna compare myself to other students. Like, you can fight me. I'm gonna do it. But, yeah, so there's that. Hi. Hello. So I was quite literally called away while filming this video, so I'm now talking to you at 2 a.m. Yay! On a different day, without my purple light because I'm just too lazy to set it up. But given everything that I have said in this video so far, I hope that you guys understand, like, I don't actually feel like, no, that's a lie. Sometimes I feel really dumb. Like, class makes me feel really incompetent in my Korean, even though I can literally go outside and have a conversation with anybody about almost anything. Like, the things that we learn are just so high level. They're so complex. I feel like they're things that we don't tend to talk about outside of class, to the point where like it makes me feel like I'm dumb sometimes. But you know, that just goes to show that I still have so much more to learn in Korean, so many things to improve at, and that my classmates are like #goals. Like, actually, they're so good at Korean. But yeah, anyway, there were so many things that I wanted to say in this video, but I feel like this is a pretty good stopping point. So I will end the video here, I guess, and share those updates, thoughts, anything, stressors, chatty stuff later, perhaps in a different sit-down video. But in the meantime, Natalia would very much like to go to bed and take these contacts out. So, yes. 다음에 봐요, guys. Bye!